I got a question about a Instagram post. You wrote, not you wrote. I'm sorry. You video you made about Amun Ra.
Mhm.
Now, when I got of a certain age, I was taught by my metaphysical teachers. Even Reverend Ike talks about how the Bible is more of a metaphysical book, and
Yeah.
that it's not to be taken literally. You made a post about Amun Ra. Now, from what I was taught by the same individuals who taught me about the Bible, not necessarily Reverend Ike, but they taught me not to take the Bible literally, and they taught me
Mhm.
not to take uh, the things I hear about ancient Kemet literally. So when they talk about Amun Ra, they are talking about the hidden sun, which just represents the hidden structure that upholds the universe. What we might call in modern term dark matter consciousness. Even
Mhm.
his wife Mut represents the visible structure of the universe, and their
Right.
son Kansu represents time caused by the rotation of the universe and the galaxy. And this is one of my, I don't know if you want to say my name, want me to say his name, my a brother named Ra Omar. But so when you made the post, and it almost seems as though you made Amun Ra a literal person.
Mhm.
Some people that I know, or somebody like myself who's looking at this as a metaphysical aspect may be a little confused by what you say. So is Amun Ra a metaphysical concept, or is it an actual person like
Both.
what you was talking about?
Both. See, if you read and study the Enuma Elish and the seven tablets of creation, you begin to understand, because it starts off with these metaphysical meanings and the creation of the universe and the creation of our solar system, and these names are being used as etherical beings and god bodies and planets and moons and everything else. And then later on, you realize that they become physical people, and they're talking about mining the planet for resources. They're talking about cloning humans. They're talking about creating a genetically modified race, uh, visiting their home planet and going to battle and war with each other and everything else. So what you realize is it's a metaphysical story and it's a real story. You can't, unfortunately, these are some great teachers. I don't want to take anything away from anybody that you've been, following and learning from, because everybody's got a little something to give. From my research, I've discovered that a lot of this information is both metaphysical and also physical. To give you an example, Marduk, who's also known as Amun Ra, he actually, there's a record of him changing the Enuma Elish in a much later copy of the original, taking out the planet's name Nibiru and replacing Nibiru with his own name.
Okay.
This is not metaphysical. This is a real person that's
Right.
doing this. When you
Right.
look into the Tower of Babel incident, where Yahweh comes back and destroys the tower that the humans are building into space, and if you look into the Sumerian tablets, it's Enlil. When you look into the Bible, it's Yahweh. If you look in Deuteronomy, the God that is sending all the people out to go battle people halfway around the world that they don't even know, to kill them and rape them and everything else, and rob from them and bring everything back to him. There's several gods fighting each other. You have Enlil, you have Marduk, who's also Amun Ra. You have all these Anunnaki type gods fighting each other, using God singular in the modern Bible to keep you with that monotheistic mindset, but it's really gods plural battling each other. Evidence of this can be found in Egypt. If you go to Egypt, you'll find that all these gods have been chipped away and hammered away, and all the noses have been broken off, and ears have been broken off, and everything else all around Egypt.
Right.
And this is common knowledge as to how it happened. It didn't happen because white people didn't want us to know that black people existed in the ancient past. Unfortunately, that's what's been passed around, but it's not totally accurate. Has that happened before? Maybe some stuff has been hidden.
They said
But in that way,
Napoleon.
yes.
They said Napoleon did that.
Right, Napoleon, they said that he shot off the nose of the Sphinx, but the
Right. Right.
Sphinx's nose was gone long before Napoleon ever arrived. That's actually a lie. The truth is, if you go there, you'll learn this is part of the real, true documented history. The Aten, the sun disk, who's also known again as Amun Ra, ordered Akhenaten to deface all of these around Egypt, every single, not only Egypt, but anywhere around the world where they had access to deface all the other gods because Amun-Ra wanted to be the one and true only God, which that verse that he wrote made it into the actual Bible. And so Akhenaten fulfilled his orders and brought in monotheism into the world, the one God system mindset, that Amun-Ra was the only one and only true God. And he erased so much Egyptian history that everybody was going crazy. And they eventually said, we got to get this guy out of here. That's how he got booted out of Egypt. He got booted out of Egypt because he was erasing the history. And this is what I'm telling you, is not something that I guessed or something that I hoped or wished or had a hypothesis. This is well-documented, actual, true history that anybody can go research and look up. This is the second, when he left, the reason why they chased him was because he took the Ark of the Covenant out of the box inside the king's chamber with him, which was the power source for the Great Pyramid, because the Great Pyramid had long stopped making power through physiostatic electricity, and the Ark of the Covenant, which is the exact same dimensions of that box, became the power source to keep it ignited and keep it generating wireless electricity that they can use through the jet pillars. When he took that, they chased him out of there and tried to catch him. He crossed the Sea of Reeds, not the Red Sea, but he crossed the Sea of Reeds, a much smaller and closer sea, not the Red Sea. And if you wind the clock back, the geological time back, you can discover that there was actually a major earthquake around that time, which would have caused a tsunami, which would have wiped away that entire sea, and he could have easily crossed over it with the people. But so the story is it's a metaphysical story, but there's a lot of evidence that will give you information about a real, true physical reality. So it's both, and see, the Bible is so chopped and screwed from so many different texts and pieced together from so many different things, like the Old Testament. You can getting that from the Annunaki list and the seven epics of creation, Esoteric, the Epic of Gilgamesh. You're getting some of it from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's all mixed. It's all mixed up. There's so much mixing going on. And the Bible wasn't just written all at one time. A lot of people have that mindset, some people wrote down and wrote this Bible. The Bible was written long after all the people were long and gone, from between 100 AD to 900 AD by Phoenicians, follower of Thoth, Tahuti. That's who wrote the Bible. But they didn't write the Bible at once. Some people in one group wrote some scriptures and stuff here. Some people copied some ancient tablets over here. Some people gathered some records from Tibet over here. And some people wrote, some scrolls and they put them in a pot. And so over hundreds of years, long after the people that are talked about are long gone and dead, these various different scriptures and scrolls and so forth were discovered and then pieced together much later and converted into what we call a book or a Bible. By other people. The Sinai Bible was one of the very first. The Ethiopian was one of the very first. So there's so many deceptions and misspelled words that were misspelled on purpose, and so much information, like the Apocrypha text, that was left out on purpose to keep people away from learning the truth about a lot of the ancient past and interaction with beings from other planets, and so forth and so on, and war machines and everything else is all missing in the Apocrypha text, which was kept out by the Council of Nicaea and King James. So it's a bigger story than what people really think. And it is a metaphysical story, but at the same time, there is true physical reality that's in there. But you have to be able to go back to the ancient text to discover what parts they altered and what parts they changed, because what's etched in stone can't be changed. And that's what I've done. I've gone and I've done this, and I've traveled around the world, and I've gone to these places. I've learned from these cultures hands-on and gotten their direct history instead of not waiting for it to come through the American system. And to me, I've gone there and learned this. So it's a combination of both. And I'm not taking anything away from metaphysical teachers. I'm just saying that it's a story that has duality into it.
Right.
One way it's, like I said, metaphysical. The other way, and a lot of esoteric wisdom. And the other way, it's true physical reality that happened in a lot of these cases. And these people are real. You can look in the Jewish American Library. You can find Marduk, who's Amun-Ra. You can look in the Torah. You're going to find Marduk. You're going to look in the Epic, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Wherever you go, you're going to find Enlil, who's also known as Yahweh. You're going to find these names in these actual texts, more current, I'll call them more modern day or new age texts, because the true ancient texts, to me, are where it's really at. But you're going to find them in all these new books, including The Matrix. The Matrix, the movie, it didn't come from all the metaphysical information in the movie Matrix didn't come from some people that just made it up, or the woman. She did a good job putting the story together, but the term The Matrix is a biblical term. It comes from the Bible. It's written in the Bible 5 different times, and the description of the Matrix is to come out of a womb. And if you want to be born into, escape the Matrix and come into the real world, you have to go through the womb. And so what do you see in the movie The Matrix? Neo wakes up in a artificial womb, and then he's flushed out, and then he becomes into the real world. You know, so it's a much bigger story than what people think. It's a whole. We got to do multiple shows to really break a lot of this down.
By Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson.